ORBITGear makes a lot of cool pouches or mods, as they call them. So they tend to market or showcase their product as a system, and these mods or pouches can be used to attach to the inside or the outside onto each other, onto their packs, and let you customize your carry option. So it's really, really neat. At least I personally find their product naming confusing, and it is very hard to figure out what is what, how are they different just by looking at the website. So by now I have a whole collection of pouches or mods from them. So I'm just going to run through these to at least explain how I understand them. So let's start with these two. I'm going to put these aside. These two guys, they kind of look similar, but they're not. So this one, it's the Mod PC line. So this happens to be Mod PC, ADV, VX, MCB. ADV is just the advanced system. This is the one of the limited run MCB VX material. So basically a Mod PC pouch. This one, it's part of the Mod Zip line. Zip, I assume, means zipper. And they have different sizes. This is, I believe, the 2P, meaning 2 rows of molding. So on paper, they should be 180 millimeters wide, and one is 100, the other one is 120 millimeters tall. So very, very little difference. I find that actually this pouch is slightly narrower for some reason. But difference between the Mod Zip and the Mod PC. The Mod Zip line has thickness to it. So you can see the way this thing is built or sewn together, there is a depth to it. And in fact, this is spec'd out to be 25 millimeters, so it's about 1 inch. Right, so the Mod Zip has depth, which I find it lets you carry more things in here. I just have some health items here, but basically the Mod Zip has depth, whereas the Mod PC is more like a pouch, right? Just flat on all sides, so it's more slim, if you like that. While I'm here, I'm going to show you what makes these things great, right? So they both have 2 rows of webbing on the back. This one has 2 in the front, this one has 1 in the front, but more importantly, they have webbings running the other direction. So what you can do is you can certainly hook, let's say this one, onto another row of moly. So if you have a pack, you can attach this one to that by just using these C-clips, right? So all you do is you thread it through, bottom, top. Oops, let me put this on camera here. And that's it. So it's very, very easy to do. Once you get used to it, I can do this in maybe 10, 15 seconds. And similarly, to attach them, you can just kind of squeeze them through and it will come off. So obviously, they're not as strong as a standard moly system attachment where you run a piece of webbing back and forth through alternate webbing. But this one lets you reconfigure your setup pretty quickly. And for normal EDC kind of load, I find that they're good enough. There is a problem with them that they do slide left and right, which I will show in a different part of the video later. So these webbings are designed for you to attach things horizontally, if you like. But these guys, turn it around, you can attach them vertically. So this guy, I should have it set up this way already. Right, so again, backpack. So for example, if a backpack has similarly horizontal webbing, you can attach these guys vertically by just clipping them on this way. So again, Mod Zip, Mod PC. Mod Zip also comes with different heights. So there's 1P, 2P, 3P, taller ones, but this is the only one I managed to get, and it is quite a useful pouch. Is probably the one that I use the most. So next up, these larger pouches. This is the Mod 03, or the name is called a flat pouch. This one is, are you ready? Mod F-1SP. I honestly do not understand where the names come from, but these guys, again, they're similar, but they're not. And they show up different elements of the design, and you may like one or the other. Let's start with this one. This is the newer one. So what's so cool about this one is it looks flat, but actually it has quite a bit of volume. Right? The other thing is it has two methods of closure. So snap, which once you get used to it, it's not too bad, but you need something solid in the back for press into to get this enclosed, right? But ORBITGear really like roll tops. So in this one, they basically have an optional roll top system. If you pull this out, you can take this, roll this down, and then wrap it around. So I hope that makes sense. So this closure actually is in some of the backpack and some of the sling pack as well. So you unroll this, and then you can get into the inside. The inside is just one deep pocket, but as I said, because of the depth, you can actually fit quite a bit of stuff in there. So this is the Mod 03 with two different methods of closure. Again, webbing in the front, webbing in the back. Typically, I think you would use them obviously this way. So you would attach, again, if there is a backpack, you would attach it this way, hanging down. These two tabs, I'm actually not sure why they're there. If somebody knows, please let me know. Now let's move on to this guy, the Modf. This one has a very, very unique closure, which is used on, again, many of the ORBITGear bags. So it's a quick release kind of thing. You just pull and it comes off. To put it back, it's a little harder. You need to align this in and then you slot this thing back through it. Now with practice, I can do it with one hand. The other nice thing about this is as the bag gain volume, the location of these guys can be adjusted. So you can unbuckle this, you can slide this up and down. Right, so in theory, you can have this all the way up here. And then you gain the height of what we just moved. Or you can cinch it all the way down to the bottom so that you will tighten the top down. Now, it doesn't really make much sense here, as you can see, right? It's bending the top, but on the Messenger and other bags, this actually makes sense. So maybe it's a little bit overkill, but it's nice that they put the same hardware and system onto this smaller pouch so that if you're familiar with it, you feel right at home. This pouch also have a little bit of organization. So on the inside, if you can see, there's actually a back zipper. There you can separate some items into it. So comparing these two, it's really hard. I like the additional organization of this guy. I kind of have a love and hate relationship with this closure. Sometimes I find it useful. Sometimes I think it's a little bit maybe dangerous because it's very easy to open. Whereas this one, I don't like the roll top and I like the snap button in theory, but sometimes I find it very, very hard to close, as you can tell. So again, similar, not the same. Next up is what's called the Cube. This is mostly marketed as an admin pouch, and it is a great admin pouch because it has awesome organization inside. Zipper pockets, middle layer, webbing, you name it, is in there. So I have a separate review of this that you can check out. But this guy, if you look at the size comparison, it's kind of the same as one of these flat pockets. It has a lot more depth. Because it has clips on the back, you could also attach this using a C-clip to the front of the back wall of another pack. So again, this one can also be used as a mod pouch. And in fact, because the webbing in the front, you could also attach something else on top of it. So this is the Cube. finally, there is this little guy. This is the Mod 04 small pocket. So it is small, let's say comparing to these guys, about half the size. Basically, it's a very small, kind of a tiny pencil case. Good for, obviously, long, thin items like the balm, Sharpie, and sanitizer. So, fun little pocket. Because of the loop and this clip here, you can attach this to pretty much anything. So maybe if you have a piece of webbing on a backpack strap, right, you can just take this, hook it through, and it's on there. Or if you have a sling, you literally can just hook this onto the strapping of the sling and just have it hanging down. You could, again, because there's a C-clip here, attach this using the clip on one side, C-clip on the other, attach it horizontally as well, although that's, I think, kind of overkill. So this is the Mod 04. So I hope you find this kind of explanation useful with all these different style options, different closure, different thickness, different setup of the very rich set of pouches or mods from ORBITGear. So here I'm going to show you how all these pouches or mods would typically fit on a ORBITGear pack. So this is the R102 pack. Backpack in VX is a really good bag that I will review separately. But this pack has 3 rows of webbings in the front, 3 on the side, and some more on the inside. So this is a perfect bag to show you how you can attach these mods to the pack itself. So up here, this is the Mod 03, the VX MCB version, and it's hooked onto the webbings here. Right, so if you need to add extra storage on the outside, this is a good option. This mod is pretty deep, it has some depth to it, so you can put quite a lot of stuff in there. Now, one thing that you will notice is that this thing slides along. So this is the good and bad about using C-clips instead of true MOLLE strap or webbing to weave the mod or the pouch onto these webbings, right? It's only a C-clip, so they do slide left and right within a space. It doesn't bother me. Again, this is obviously not for true load-bearing use, but it does make attaching and detaching way easier. So this is a mod on the front, this back. And you can put something else on the side here as well, just to show. This is another pouch. This is the Mod PC. Again, naming convention, I'll explain later. This typically you use it as a horizontal pouch, but using these horizontal webbing, but you could actually make it vertical as well. So I have it hooked onto the webbings here, and now it becomes a little vertical side pouch. So for maybe things like gloves or hand sanitizer or something, it works great. So 2 more things. On the inside, this bag, on the back of it has, again, 3 rows of webbing. So this is another one of the pouch. This is the mod, I believe, either Modf 1 or Modf 2P maybe. But anyway, this one is hooked onto the back again via C-clips. So it's a very good way to have something lift up near the top. I have in here, I think, of course, hand sanitizer and so forth. So useful when you want to just have some items lifted towards the top, kind of the back version of this top pocket. Now, this is not all. To show you, one of their more fun product is this little guy, if I can find it, right here. This is what they call Mod 04, the small pocket. So I have it kind of hanging here right now. It has a little clip here that, let me just take this off. A little clip here, so you can either hook it onto some kind of webbing, which is what I think it's intended for, Or if you really want, you can also attach it sideways because there's a C-clip in the bottom as well. So very small pouch, again, good for a very, very small item, little multi-tool maybe, but kind of useful. So this is how all these mods fit into a typical ORBITGear bag, but obviously they will fit into any bag that has standard spaced webbing.